It is unbelievable that the government has told people to not go and get tested, but to test themselves with a rapid antigen test that isn't available and that isn't affordable.
With national new daily cases above 30,000 and rising, and PCR delays continuing around the country, it's clear rapid antigen tests are the way forward. But ongoing scarcity has created a free market free-for-all, with widespread reports of price gouging. The tests, which are usually $10 each, are now being regularly seen for up to $25 a pop. One well-known online retailer was charging $355 for 10 tests. Even Coles and Woolies are charging up to $15 a piece now, if you can find them in stock.
You see in other countries where they're actually giving them for free, whereas here they're charging a lot of money.
We were able to find some at Priceline, but it was after weeks and weeks of searching.
I haven't been able to find any. I saw one at a petrol station, it was like $25 for one.
People are going to try and find them and pharmacies can't find them, and if they find them they have to be able to afford them, and the prices are going up.
All this as pressure mounts on the government to make the test kits free.
People who can't afford them should be given them. We need to get the health outcomes right in order to minimise the economic impact.
But the PM isn't budging.
We're now in a stage of the pandemic where you can't just make everything free.
Nor is the Treasurer.
We can't make every product free of charge, but what we do is provide that extra support where it's needed.
Today, Queensland joined Victoria and New South Wales announcing a stockpile of free tests to be rolled out shortly, a bid to keep people safe and the economy ticking over.
I can't do anything about price gouging. You have to speak to the federal government about that. But I do know, having spoken to different pharmacies across Queensland, that they are expecting additional stockpile over the coming weeks.
The more people who get COVID, if it's really widespread in the community, you have a whole bunch of people that can't go to work. And if a whole bunch of us can't go to work, then we really have problems in terms of just keeping the basics of society going.
So, while no one expects everything for free, is saving money on testing now going to cost us all much more later?
Economist Stephen Duckett is the Health Program Director at the Grattan Institute, and he joins us now. Stephen, to your mind, are there any strong economic arguments against the government paying for these rapid tests?
No, not really. It's just like the PCR test, like the vaccination. It should be free and available to everybody. Essentially, if I do a rapid antigen test, it benefits everybody else. And so, it's really strange to make me pay for something which is benefiting the rest of the community.
Retailers like Chemist Warehouse are calling for the government to drop the GST on them. Should that be considered?
Look, the GST is only 10% of the price, and so the main deal is the 90% of the price, or in fact the 100% of the price. We've got to get these rapid antigen tests out. We don't want to have financial barriers. Young people can't afford them, and there's a whole lot of price gouging as well. So we really want to encourage the use of rapid antigen tests so we can, if people think they're infected, they actually test and then just don't go out, don't infect others. So really it's, false economics to actually put a charge, and we should be getting rid of the whole price, not just 10%.
Stephen, it feels like Australians have been incredibly compliant. We've all done the right thing. We've locked down, we've got vaccinated. We didn't see our families for months, sometimes years. We obeyed governments when they closed down borders, all of which was ostensibly to buy the government time. Now we're told we've got to exercise personal responsibility, and people are trying to do that. But does that give us a sense that the government really has no plan beyond let it rip?
When you think back, the public gave an incredible social licence to government to actually lock us down. Those of us in Melbourne had the longest lockdown in the world, sort of thing. And, we were incredibly supportive of that. And if you look at what happened in Queensland, Western Australia, the public voted for the governments that actually said, we are going to protect you, we are going to slow the virus. And then, as soon as we get the vaccination rate up into the 60s and the 70s, the Commonwealth government said, yeah, that's enough, lift the lid. Premier Perrottet said, lift the lid, we let it rip, without putting in place any of the mechanisms which would slow the virus and would protect us while we do have fewer restrictions and while we are able to meet up with our families and friends.
I note that in the UK, when you get a rapid antigen test, you can register with the government the results of that test. Where is that in Australia? Is that going to happen? Is that something that needs to happen?
Yeah, so in England, you can get free rapid antigen tests. You just go online and you get 7 delivered to your home the next day, or You can pick them up at a distribution centre, but each of them has a QR code, and you just click that, and it logs, and you have to log whether it's positive or negative, and then you're captured in the data, so we know how many people are infected. And, we haven't put in place any of that infrastructure. It could easily go into your My Health record. So there's lots of ways we could do it. But as I said, the government appears to be asleep at the wheel and not actually thinking through what the implications of the policies are and what systems need to be in place to make sure we're managing a pandemic as well as we possibly could.
Stephen, really appreciate your insights. Thanks for joining us.
A pleasure.